मैं तो दिल्ली में रहता हूँ और रेडियो फीजी बहुत रेडियो फीजी रोज सुनता हूँ.
रेडियो फीजी 2 देश की धड़कन.
Good evening, Fiji. In this bulletin, Waikula is incorrect, says Saneem, and investors duped by fake EIA consultants.
From the studios of FBC Suva, Jackie Spate.
Supervisor of Elections Mohammed Saneem says suspended SEDELPA member Niko Nawaikula needs to reread the Electoral Act. Nawaikula posted a Facebook rant claiming that members of the suspended party who were in Parliament should have been allowed to serve as independents. However, Saneem has clarified this is all too premature as suspended SEDELPA tries to sort out its internal problems.
In a lengthy post, Nawaikula says he and other opposition MPs who are part of suspended SEDELPA should have been in Parliament last week.
It is a party-based system. Those parliamentarians are in the Parliament representing their party and cannot claim entitlement to the seat in Parliament personally. It is a party seat.
Nawaikula, who happens to be a lawyer, claims Section 20 of the Electoral Act allows the 21 members of suspended SEDELPA to become independent MPs if the party is deregistered.
Since the party has not been deregistered yet, Mr. Nawaikula, in referring to Section 20 of the Act, is rather putting the cart before the horse.
Suspended SEDELPA hasn't been deregistered and may not even be if it complies with all requirements before the 60-day deadline. Therefore, the question of becoming independents or joining another party does not arise.
At this time, ladies and gentlemen, it is of paramount importance that officials in the suspended party act on remedying the breaches if they have not done so till now, instead of making such poorly researched statements in social media.
You have the floor.
Nawaikula has also been cautioned he does not enjoy parliamentary privilege for statements outside of the House and he can be held accountable. Edwin Nunn, FBC News.
Edwin Nunn joins us live now. Edwin, what else was said by the Supervisor of Elections?
His main concern was that Nawaikula got the law wrong and that anyone who read his post would have believed it to be true. He says Nawaikula should have gotten some legal opinion or done some research before making public statements. Saneem also clarified that the reason that the suspended SEDELPA MPs had to clear the opposition office in Parliament is because the party itself was no longer in existence. The supervisor adds Nawaikula's post appears to be an attempt to get some public attention at a time when suspended SEDELPA should be focusing on remedying its breaches and coming out of suspension.
Thanks so much for that, Edwin. As the eyes of the world remains fixed on the United States following days of violent protests, we can tonight say that Fijians and other Pacific Islanders have also been targeted by the police due to their race. Following the death of George Floyd, an African-American who died after being arrested by police outside a shop in Minneapolis, Minnesota, footage of the arrest last week shows a white police officer kneeling on Floyd's neck while he was pinned to the floor. Fijians living in the US say they are hoping that racism comes to a grinding halt because the minorities have always had to face this issue. Lena Reese has more.
Given the history of this country, yes, sometimes we are targeted things. There have been some incidents. This is an issue that's been going on since the Jim Crow days. And yeah, it's just the fact that, you know, you have to try and act back with as much kindness as you can in a way, because don't give them a reason, you know, to think that what they already think about you is true.
But physically, I mean, yes, I would like to go to a protest, but peaceful one.
More than 100 project owners or investors who needed environmental impact assessments were duped by consultants in the last year. Permanent Secretary for Environment Joshua Wycliffe says the consultants were hired to carry out paperwork and submit applications on the investors' behalf. However, the ministry has found that at least 60% of these consultants have tricked their clients, causing losses of up to $100,000. Josiah Nunga has more.
Many consultants are found to be withholding accurate information,
on the EIA process.
There's a good number of consultants who then do not tell the truth to the business owners or the project owners. They keep telling them that, this is not there. They say it's with the department's sleeping over it, not doing its job.
Wycliffe states by not adhering to requirements and submitting incomplete reports, these consultants are hindering the facilitation of EIA applications.
9.9 out of 10. Paperwork that reaches our customer service staff and then onto the back office comes incomplete. 9 out of 10, we have to return it, or we have to ask them for more information, and then there's a lot of time lost going back and forth.
The issue has prompted the ministry to categorize the consultants in accordance to their areas of expertise, and those who insist to conform to the changes will be held accountable.
If I find that it's not true, that actually the paperwork is not complete, and yet someone is claiming that it isn't, I need to know that as well, and I will take action.
They need to be prosecuted. They need to be taken to task.
The ministry has received close to 300 EIA applications in the last 8 months. Chosayananuga, FBC News.
In recent years, Fiji has been calling for global support in a bid to find solutions to the extinction of plants, animals and eventual collapse of the ecosystems. Speaking at the Curtain Raise of Environment Week today, Environment Minister Dr. Mahendra Reddy said they're also looking at ways to address the impacts of climate change.
Dr. Reddy states the world's biodiversity is rapidly declining due to human activity, and we will be at risk in the near future if no action is taken.
Environment for us in small island states means quality of life. It means survival. It means our livelihood. It is our lifestyle. It's sustenance.
World Environment Day became a powerful platform for environmental advocacy to help accelerate, amplify and engage communities.
In a very meaningful way to raise awareness and raise very important and launch important dialogues, important messages and instruments that will protect our environment and help us maintain the pristine Fijian environment that we are all so proud of.
The ministry recently launched its 5-year action plan, which provides the national strategy to sustain biodiversity. Chosayananuga, FBC News.
Up ahead, traders under spotlight for unethical practices. An alleged rapist denied bail.
Natango aprosana garse ngor kraki do televizio no varro na radio Fiji 1 nandomo iviti.
Radio Fiji 1 nandomo iviti.
The Ministry of Fisheries has made it clear that legal bindings remain in place and actions will be taken against those who will not comply with the ban on harvesting, trade and consumption of kawakawa and donu. Over the weekend, a submission was made to the Cabinet to suspend the ban for this year, but with no decisions yet, the Minister has warned that all restrictions remain in place. Apanesa Wangarandovu reports individuals and companies in breach of the law can be fined of up to $100,000.
The ban in effect from today will ensure the 2 species of fish are protected during their spawning period.
Until an announcement is made to say that the ban has been lifted and we can carry on with the new instruction that will come out.
The minister has urged Fijians to respect the ban.
I hope that if the decision comes in tomorrow or the day after, then government and fisheries will make another announcement in regards to the decision that has been given by Cabinet.
Meanwhile, the 4FJ campaign says they have received more than 26,000 pledges to date. In a statement, it urged Fijians to come on board and help protect the nation's food security by pledging to forego kawakawa and donu during the 4-month peak breeding season, which begins today. With the severe impacts of COVID-19, the submission to forego the ban this year to ensure people have food security, as many rely on fish sales for income. Apanesa Wangarandovu, FBC News.
Over 215 traders are now under investigation for unscrupulous dealings and trying to take advantage of vulnerable Fijians who are already in financial despair due to COVID-19. The Fijian Competition and Consumer Commission says 99% of these traders are repeat offenders who are not shying away from profiting at the expense of consumers. Kritika Kumar reports.
Traders are being prosecuted for excessive prices contrary to price regulations and selling expired items, and the Commission is looking at filing the charges against 16 at the present time.
As and when we are getting evidences and our legal team has concluded the vetting process, we are able to look at the evidences on file and say, let's proceed for prosecution.
Over the last 5 weeks, the Commission has conducted more than 3,700 inspections, while complaints during COVID-19 have increased fourfold.
The reality is there's certain businesses who probably do not take compliance very seriously, and the courts do see that, and you will see the courts implementing hefty fines up to $20,000.
Meanwhile, from April to May, the Consumer Council has conducted 391 trader visits and market surveillance.
When I say trader visit, this is based on, the number of complaints that we receive, and, we do an in-depth investigation. When we do, say, market surveillances, this is something that the Consumer Council does it.
The Consumer Watchdog has also forwarded complaints against traders to relevant authorities for further action. Kritika Kumar, FBC News.
The Health Ministry will remain proactive to ensure there is no new wave of COVID-19. With no new cases of the virus recorded for over 40 days now, the Health Minister says the global fight against the coronavirus continues. Kelly Vadhala reports.
While Fiji remains on track to eliminating COVID-19, the Health Minister warns we are still not out of the woods yet.
We all have to understand that we play an important role in making sure that we prevent a second or third wave of this disease in Fiji.
With only 3 active cases remaining, Dr. Wanganembete says the patients are stable.
They don't have any symptoms, and that remains as it is. So 15 have recovered, and 3 remain. So far up until now, we haven't had any other new cases of COVID-19.
In an effort to assist the Health Ministry in its fight against COVID-19, the China Friendship Association today donated personal protective equipment. Some of the equipment handed over to the Ministry of Health include surgical masks, disposable gloves, hand sanitizers and protective clothing that will be immediately given to frontline workers.
And of course, China is also working very hard with the other ministries to focus on the post-pandemic era, how we can do more.
The public health teams are monitoring the situation on the ground and educating Fijians not only regarding COVID-19 but also other communicable diseases. Kelly Vadhala, FBC News.
Bail was denied to a man facing charges of robbery and intention to rape in the Suva High Court this morning. In February of last year on Vuthi Road in Nausori, Iliesa Dhuanilawa allegedly robbed a woman of assorted items valued at over $4,000. It is alleged Dhuanilawa threatened the complainant with a knife and assaulted her with the intention of committing rape. The suspect claimed in court today that he was assaulted by officers in the remand centre and requested bail. The High Court judge denied bail, saying Dhuanilawa's convictions date back to 2007. The accused was instructed to get a private counsel, and the case will be recalled on the 3rd of next month. And Whitney is here with the latest in business.
Thanks, Jackie. Coming up in business tonight, labour market conditions worsens further. And government says fiscal reforms are working. Stay with us.
My name is Neha and I'm from Karavi. And Mirchi FM, it's hot.
Mirchi FM, it's hot.
Overall, labour market conditions have worsened with further announcements of layoffs. The Reserve Bank of Fiji, in its May review, says a notable uptake in the Fiji National Provident Fund's COVID-19 withdrawal scheme supports an increase in unemployment. As of the 27th of May, 88,939 COVID-19 withdrawal applications had been lodged with the FNPF. Governor Arif Ali says the applicants were mainly from tourism, taxi, small and micro enterprises that have been experienced reduced hours, lower income or have been laid off temporarily or permanently. Ali also states that domestic credit growth slowed by 4.2%, with reduced lending to businesses and private individuals. In the same period, new lending and deposit rates also fell for commercial banks. On May 28th, excess liquidity stood at 807.8 million. The government believes direct budget funding from our largest trading partners indicates that several reforms have worked. Australia has committed 18 million, while New Zealand has provided about 7.7 million since late March. Minister for Economy A.S. Kium says the money will be used to fund government policies and initiatives.
We have been over the past few years working on a number of policies that creates a lot more, regulatory transparency, a lot more accountability, policy measures, and also, modernizing many of our systems in place, including business processes.
There are growing calls in New Zealand for its government to establish a travel bubble with the Pacific before Australia, with one public health expert says it's a no-brainer. We now join Sinifa from HFC Bank with the latest from the money markets.
View the trading on the South Pacific Stock Exchange last week. More than 81,000 shares changed hands with a value of approximately $107,000. Amalgamated Telecom Holdings, Kontiki Finance, and Paradise Beverages recorded trades, as did RB Patel, Vision Investments, and Fijian Holdings. Paradise Beverages was the only stock to record a share price gain, while the others recorded declines. Following the various price changes, the total market value fell by 1.97% and concluded the week with a value of $3.53 billion. That's a wrap from our local stock market and from HFC Bank, Vinaka.
Turning to today's exchange rates as set this morning, the Fiji dollar continued to battle the storms of the foreign exchange market. It rose against the Kiwi dollar, the PNG kina, and the steady Japanese yen, but was down versus the other currencies we cover. Commodities were on the rise. The price of crude oil rose to over $35 per barrel. Gold rose sharply to close at $1,752 per ounce, and silver closed up at $18.75. That's it from Business Tonight. We now join Jamie with the latest in sports.
Naka Whitney, and good evening in sports tonight. Naingama confirmed the coach. And fitness a worry for Beba. This and more coming up.
Bola, I'm Miri, I'm from Lotoka, and I love Gold FM because they play all my classic hits.
Gold FM, only the classic hits.
It's official. Former Fiji Mbati captain Wes Naingama is coach of the Kaiviti Silktails Rugby League side. Naingama, who played in the NRL for a decade, will lead the Silktails as head coach into the New South Wales Rugby League Round Massey Cup. Aquila Dama with the details.
FBC Sports broke the news 3 weeks ago, but today Fiji National Rugby League made the official announcement at its headquarters in Suva.
See this appointment to be head coach for the Silktails is massive for myself and something that I take.
Naingama will work closely with National Coaching Director Brendan Costin and FNRL development officers.
The Silktails organisation being in Fiji, just in growing the game.
The FNRL believes it's about time they invest in young coaches.
Was in young coach, and as I said, the board in taking this direction.
Fiji Mbati prop William Kikau impressed for the Penrith Panthers against the Newcastle Knights in the NRL last night. Both Kikau and former Mbati Jacob Saifiti for the Knights crossing the line in the first half of the 14-all draw. The epic match was forced into golden point. However, neither side could nail a combined 8 field goal attempts. Fiji Men's Sevens head coach Gareth Baber is wary of the fitness level of players and the risk of detraining amid the pandemic restrictions. As Baber prepares to map out a plan for the World Sevens Series in September and the Olympic Games next year, players have been instructed to continue individual training.
The truth is that they wouldn't be anywhere near playing in a tournament at the moment, and
testing them fitness-wise is very difficult because I don't have access to them. It's only when we test them and we put them in a training environment we're able to find out exactly how much work we've got to do.
The Sunwolves will not take part in next month's Australia-based Super Rugby AU competition. The Fiji Football Association anticipates a hectic return to competition for national reps, with the World Cup qualifiers to begin next year. The Fiji FA hopes to get players playing as many games as possible once domestic competitions resume next month. Karatavi reports.
Preparing our national reps for international competition tops the Fiji FA's agenda.
We've got a full-on commitment for the rest of teams early next year, and in view of that, we need to get these athletes to play the maximum number of matches to be international match ready.
There are now plans to have the men's national team march into camp 3 weeks prior to the resumption of the Vodafone Premier League.
It all has one game to raise the level of football here in Fiji. The Vodafone Premier League has been running again for approximately 3 weeks. We will try to make a new camp for the national team players.
To align with Coach Fleming Shadislev's new philosophy of improving standards, the Fiji FA aims to host more invitational games post-COVID-19. Karleni Tavi, FBC Sports.
That's it from Sports Tonight.
Bula, I'm Miri, I'm from Lotoka, and I love Gold FM because they play all my classic hits.
Gold FM, only the classic hits.
And Kritika joins us now with the latest from the weather world.
It has been a pretty nice day across the nation, mostly clear skies and sunshine. In the west, after receiving a few welcome hours of rain yesterday, it was cool and overcast today. Eastwards from Peck Harbour to Suva, the day has been generally fine, with 1 or 2 isolated morning showers. And up north, Lambasa reports overcast skies, but no rain so far. At sea, east-southeast winds at 15 to 20 knots, moderate swells. Turning to the tides, the next low tide is at 8:44 tonight, followed by high tide at 3:06 tomorrow morning. Expect to see sunrise at 6:31 in the morning, of course, and tomorrow should be much like today, with scattered showers in most areas and a chance of thunderstorms in the east and north. Looking ahead to Wednesday, it may be a little warmer with the same mixture of cloud and showers. And that's the weather for now. Back to Jackie.
Thanks so much for that, Kritika. In Fijian Pulse tonight, we ask, should the ban on kawakawa and donu be suspended due to COVID-19?
They should ban only for the people selling. Yeah. If they allow only people to eat, that's good.
Yes, because the time is getting hard.
There's not many kawakawa and donu, so I think we should stick with the ban.
It should be suspended because of this food security.
Recapping the main stories for tonight, Nawaikula is incorrect, says Sanim. Fijians in the US claim racism amidst protests, and investors duped by fake EIA consultants. Now for these stories and others, tune in daily to our sister radio station Gold FM. Our poll question last week, we had asked, is Fiji facing a major problem with animal abuse? 72% said yes. This week we're asking, is it a good time to invest in real estate? Visit our FBC website to answer. And our shot of the day, Selina Tokalao sent this sunset from the beautiful island of Yanuva. And you can send us newsworthy pictures and videos on email fbcnews@fbc.com.fj. Share it with us on our FBC News Facebook page and our Twitter page at FBC_news. That's your news for tonight. Until tomorrow, Modamanta.
Bula, I'm Miri, I'm I'm from Lotoka and I love Gold FM because they play all my classic hits.
Gold FM, only the classic hits.